I may have to stay up all night. I can't believe what just happened, even though I witnessed it with my own eyes. The wandering ghosts, her tragic past, the ghosts and demons still flickering, appearing in my mind. Everything is so strange and unbelievable. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Vietnamese Ghost Stories YouTube channel tonight. Wish you a fun and interesting evening of listening to stories. Are you ready? Lock the door and put on your headphones. The story begins. Rain. Rain again tonight. Water drops fall on the roof. Thunder strikes continuously, lighting up a corner of the purple sky. Trees lie tilted, the sound of crickets chirping non-stop. The cold wind blows into the house, seeping through every corner, bringing a damp, sad atmosphere. For many people, rain is a sedative. It calms the mind and helps you sleep better. But to me, it was nothing more than an unpleasant sound, and now the whole family had gone to sleep. I was the only one left to enjoy the deep, desperate sadness of this night sky. The mood now was completely different from the 2 nights before. At that time, I was so nervous and confused. Now I was so restless and worried. Not worried about my own fate, but worried about that unfortunate woman. Worried about the fate of the 2 brothers who were wronged and could not be released, becoming wandering ghosts like her. Although the plan to expose the culprit was already in place, the anxiety and worry still overwhelmed me much more. Because Mr. Nam Gu was a gentle, lovable person with a house and fields as far as the eye could see. How could he be a cold-blooded, brutal murderer of 3 people, watching the rain pour down like a waterfall? Suddenly, I remembered what my grandmother said. Life is not as simple as a book. Reading the first part is to predict what the next part will be like. Life is very complicated, my child. What she said was really true. Because life is very complicated, everything can happen unexpectedly and cannot be predicted. Taking a deep breath, I now feel more confident, determined that my plan will succeed, and then the culprit will be brought to justice, no matter who it is. Thinking for a while, I finally fell asleep. The sky tonight feels so peaceful and quiet. The rain has finally stopped. The night has finally ended, giving way to the clear blue sky for sunny days full of hope. I must have stayed up too late last night, so today I woke up later than usual. Both my father and mother have left the house. They must have gone to the field to pick corn. Only my son and sister are at home. She stood on the other side of the window drying clothes, turned to see that I was awake. So she asked, your plan, your scheme, or whatever, is it done? If so, tell me. And are you sure it will succeed? Everything depends on you. I smiled and said, Don't worry, I will only succeed, not fail. I'm sure that in less than 7 days, the culprit will reveal himself and admit all his crimes. As for the plan, let's wait. She stared at me, leaned close to the door and said, if you say you can do it, you must do it. If you need anything, just call me. The conversation had just ended when the shaman arrived. He rushed into the house, quickly brought a chair and sat next to me, then asked about the plan to catch the culprit. What should we do now? I'm so worried. I heard that next week, Old Man 5 will go to the capital. If we don't hurry, we will be defeated. Sit up, lean close to the teacher's ear and say, I know that Old Man 5 is a bachelor and is also very superstitious. He is very afraid of ghosts and has talismans all over his house. You go to his house, then do this, the next night. Then let me and my sister take action. The teacher nodded, clapped his hands, and praised. Great plan, truly a great plan, ha ha ha. Following the first step of the plan, the teacher immediately went to the old man's house. As soon as he arrived, he felt a huge amount of negative energy accumulating in his house. The teacher was determined. Only the souls of those who died unjustly or unjustly would have such a resentful, negative energy. Seeing him standing in front of the door, his clothes neat and his mouth puffing out smoke, he pretended to be thirsty to find an excuse to go into his house. "Hello, benefactor. I am a fortune teller and exorcist who has just returned from the capital. I am thirsty after a long journey. Could you please let me come in and have a cup of tea and rest for a while? If possible, I will give you a free fortune telling." He was indeed a superstitious man. As soon as he heard about the fortune teller from the capital, he quickly invited him into his house. "Yes, please have some. I ordered this jasmine tea from the capital, so it is very delicious and fragrant. It is truly a blessing to have you visit my house. You must be famous for your fortune-telling, right?" The teacher spoke to him in a low voice. "I will not hide anything from you, my benefactor. I have been a fortune-teller for 30 years, and I also have a sideline of exorcism." After a while, the teacher looked at him with a cold gaze, and his face began to change color. "Hey, let me tell you, what I say is only accurate. This benefactor's house has a very large ghost. Its negative energy has turned black. If you do not resolve it, it will only ruin your family business or affect your life." The old man's face suddenly changed significantly, but he still kept his composure, putting his pipe aside. He said with a contemptuous voice, "And yet, you call yourself a teacher and dare to say that you have practiced this profession for 30 years. I have always been known for being gentle and virtuous. No one around me has ever complained about me, and I often do good deeds, giving rice and helping people. God and Buddha have not yet finished loving me, so where would the devil harm me?" "Ha ha ha, you are wrong." Angry, he slammed his hand on the table. "Rude, I am sure that in this house there is a suffering ghost who died unjustly." The teacher smiled with one side of his lips, full of defiance. "I even know where it comes from. I even saw the bones of that girl locked in a jar. Is there anything else you are not convinced about?" Hearing the teacher's exact words, the old man could not help but be bewildered and afraid. He turned his face around the house, quickly wiped the sweat from his forehead, and said to the teacher, How? Did you know about this?" "Only my wife and I know about this, and she has passed away. I kept this story to myself and didn't tell anyone. So how did you know about this secret?" The teacher saw that the old man looked flustered, so he lowered his voice and said to him, "Why? People trust my 30 years of practice. Nothing can fool me. And what are you waiting for? Tell me the truth so I can help you." He was deep in thought, stroked his mustache, and explained, "First of all, let me apologize for being rude. Now I have opened my eyes and am convinced, teacher." Taking a sip of tea, he continued, "Before, I had a daughter. She was gullible and was fooled by a scoundrel from the neighboring village. That guy rode off on a horse, leaving her with a big belly. And you know, an unmarried woman who is pregnant is the only way for her parents to avoid being ridiculed and ridiculed by the neighbors. Then one rainy night, she was under too much pressure and decided to hang herself. I didn't dare bury her outside, but left her in the house, chopped her body into many pieces, and cremated her, and didn't even hold a funeral. If you can, please help me exorcise her. I'll give you some money as travel expenses." Although it was completely contrary to the words of the female ghost, but he still noticed many unusual things, especially his facial expression and his timid way of speaking. I forgot the tools to exorcise her in the capital. I only brought the tools for fortune-telling. Do you want me to do it?" Quickly, the old man nodded. "Yes, it's up to you, teacher." The teacher took out 2 coins and put them in a turtle shell, shaking it a few times. Then the teacher asked him to hold out his hands. Clicking his tongue, the teacher said, "This female ghost is not your child. Sooner or later, you will have to face disaster. Sooner or later, you reap what you sow." The old man was angry. His face was red. He shouted at the teacher, Hey, don't be so unreasonable. I live a good life. Why should I have to face disaster, and I also reap what I sow? And she is my daughter, don't talk nonsense. You old fortune teller. The teacher was so angry that his body trembled. He shouted at him with all his might. You are a brazen bastard. You will pay a heavy price. It's not too late to turn back now. The old man was also not to be outdone. Get out, you get out of my house now. Where are the servants? See the guest off? The teacher angrily shouted at him. No need for you to see him off. Doing good will accumulate virtue. Doing evil will be punished. I will watch you die. After saying that, the teacher angrily left his house. As for him, he was still confused and afraid that the past events would be exposed. When I got home, my teacher told me the whole story. As expected, I finally knew where the girl's remains were buried. Now for option 2, mental intimidation. Once again, I ran to my grandmother's garden. She was a bird lover. And among them, there was a very smart parrot that could speak fluent human language. I quickly brought it home and taught it, and in less than an hour, it had memorized all the lines. What's more, it spoke fluently. Night had come. It was time to act. I ran to the old man's house alone. His house had a mango tree planted next to the wall, so I climbed up and hid in that mango tree. I glanced through the window and saw that the old man was still awake, counting money under the weak light of the candle. Quickly, I released the parrot from my bag. It followed the script it had memorized and flew back to his window, then resounded with terrifying, mournful, thunderous words. In life, you should do good deeds so that the devils will not visit you at night. Avoid evil deeds, do things against your conscience, or else hawks and crows will peck your body apart. The old man fell back onto the chair, his eyes staring at the parrot. He growled and shouted, "Go away, you evil parrot! Leave me alone! Go away, or I will kill you!" The parrot continued. "Although my body is not intact, but my soul will forever be here. Heaven has eyes and will see. Murder is a crime that is hard to forgive." The old man could only raise his hand to his head, hiding in a dark corner. Suddenly, he quickly grabbed a clog and threw it at the parrot, but perhaps he was too frightened and missed. The parrot only had time to fly away deep into the night. But the echo echoed, "I will come tomorrow night. I will see you tomorrow night." Ah, ha, ha. I sat on the tree and chuckled happily, watching the old man close the door, while my pale face was covered in sweat. Step 2 had been a complete success. Now it was the final step of the plan, the ghost on the mango tree. This time it was my sister's turn to take action. We waited for the night to fall and did it again. I personally made her up to look exactly like the female ghost, and we both went to the mango tree. My sister and I climbed up the tree. Looking through the window, I still saw the old man sitting there, counting money like yesterday. But the only difference was that there was a rubber band on the table. I imitated the sound of an owl that echoed throughout the night, and as soon as the old man heard it, he raised his head and looked around, his hand firmly holding the rubber band, his eyes glaring, moving around constantly. Suddenly, he sat down again. I immediately took out the bell from the teacher's bag and rang it 3 times. Kong, kong, kong. In the room, it was different from before. Now, the old man had pulled out a rusty knife, covered in blood. He was furious and shouted loudly, each sentence faltering. Are you a human or a ghost? If you are good, come out here and face me. I will kill you all." Now it was my sister's turn to act. She climbed as fast as a squirrel. In a flash, she had reached the tree branch inside the house. Lifting her hair, she laughed loudly, full of mischief and fear. Ah, ha, ha, ah. As soon as the old man saw the teacher, he trembled so much that he dropped the knife on the ground. He clasped his hands and knelt down. You, please spare me. It happened a long time ago. I did not mean to kill you. Please spare my life. I promise to hold an altar to clear your name. Ghost, spare me." My sister began to show her red teeth, glared, and shouted at he. "You say I'll spare you. I should have killed you, but if I did that, you and I would be the same kind of people. Tomorrow night at exactly the second watch, from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., take the urn of ashes out to the well. Tear off the talisman and I'll spare your dog's life." He was terrified and bowed and begged. Okay. I'll do it tomorrow night, but you have to keep your promise. You have to spare me." My sister nodded in agreement, and at that moment, I threw a smoke bomb into his house in an attempt to escape. The next morning, as soon as I finished dinner, I rushed to the district magistrate's residence. I saw a huge drum, and I beat it loudly with a mallet. Seeing that, 2 soldiers ran out to open the door. As soon as I stepped inside, I felt scared, because this place was majestic and quiet. The district magistrate here was famous for being intelligent, handling things skillfully, and never accepting bribes. From whom he walked out majestically with a cold face. "Hey, you brat! It's early in the morning and you're already beating the drum to cry out for justice. Is there something very sad? Tell me quickly." I was afraid, but I still kept calm and told him the story in detail. After he heard it, he couldn't believe that there was such a ridiculous story in the world. In his entire career of solving cases, he had never encountered such a case. I immediately convinced the official with my life. "Please believe me, tonight you just go to the well in that tomb and you will see what I just said. If there is anything wrong, I will pay with my life." With his upright, intelligent nature and extensive experience in the officialdom, realizing the sincerity and unbelievable truthfulness of the story, he immediately said, "Okay, tonight I will go there with those 2 soldiers. If you dare to lie, I will deal with you without mercy." The sky had already set behind the mountains, the pink clouds were fading, the horizon was no longer clear. The moon had begun to rise, which meant the battle had begun. The moon tonight was unusually clear, even though it only rose waningly this month. The clouds were scattered and drifting in both directions. The road to the cemetery was very spacious. I had arranged everything. The teacher would stand in the cemetery. The mandarin, and 2 soldiers would hide in the bamboo bushes nearby. At exactly the second watch, Namgu arrived. He walked alone in the night, holding the red vase tightly to his chest. He began to look around the graveyard. The wind blew through the bamboo grove, rolling the leaves up high, and dust filled the sky. He was frightened, put the vase on the ground, then put his face down in the well and said, "Are you here? I have brought the urn containing your ashes. I will tear the talisman. Tomorrow I will set up an altar to clear your name and help you to be reborn. It seems like there is no fate between us." The official jerked, looked at me, and looked terrified. The teacher quickly jumped down from the mahogany tree, scaring him, causing him to jump back. After a few seconds of regaining his composure, he took out the old knife and held it in front of him. Under the moonlight, the knife flashed with sharp edges, exuding a cold, deadly aura. He smiled savagely. "Ah, so it's this old man. What are you doing here?" "Oh, I forgot. I don't care about that because sooner or later you'll die. I'll give you one last question before your head leaves your neck. Don't scream. No one would dare come here at this hour. Ask." Ha ha ha. The teacher looked at him with a cold, sharp gaze. "Okay, if you want, I'll ask. Why did you kill those 2 children, and then lock this girl in here?" He laughed loudly, full of arrogance. "Good, you asked a good question. I will answer sincerely so that you can rest in peace. If I don't kill that girl, I will be imprisoned sooner or later. I don't want to marry her, I just like to take advantage of and play with that woman's body. As for those 2 brats, they must be called unlucky. The day I came back from the theater, I suddenly saw them doing something shady. The fortune teller from the past told me, if anyone goes near the well, kill them. Otherwise, the female ghost will possess them and spread rumors, and sooner or later this matter will be exposed. So I had no choice but to act in cold blood, smashing their heads, then locking them in a bamboo bush, stuffing their mouths with mud, making their parents think they were possessed and killed by a ghost. My wealth and career are so stable that they cannot be destroyed by those two brats. The teacher hugged his chest and fell to the ground with his words. I can't believe that in this world there is a cruel and savage person like you, killing 3 people without hesitation. You beast, a human body with a beast's heart. He continued to laugh savagely. You think you are a fortune teller? It should be 4 people. Stand still there. I will gently help you end your life. Ha 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 ha. He held the knife in his hand and walked step by step towards the collapsed teacher, looking at him now. He was no different from a beast thirsting for human blood. He had just raised the knife, intending to stab him fatally when suddenly the ghost of a female ghost from the well appeared in front of him. Ah ha ha, 30 years, 30 years. We are truly fated. I have finally met your miserable face again. Do you still remember that night? Do you still remember the night my blood splattered all over your house? Do you still remember when you threw my body down the well? Do you still remember my tears begging you to spare my life? Do you remember everything? You're quite good, you even dare to come here. The old man screamed, fell down, and hit his head on the ground. You promised to spare me. I brought your urn here. Keep your promise. She sat on the edge of the well, lifted her shirt. Promise? I promised you. Look at the knife wound on my stomach. Do you think I'll spare your dog's life? You have to die. You have to die for me to feel at ease. Do you know that I died in torment? My parents didn't even hold a funeral. I've had to live in misery and hunger for a long time here. Now it's time for you to pay the price. Ah ha ha ha! She flew towards him, spreading her pale hands with blue veins, wanting to strangle him. But she suddenly jumped away, then hit the well hard. He suddenly remembered that he was carrying a talisman from that sorcerer. He widened his eyes, clapped his hands, and laughed loudly. You think it's easy to kill me? You're still very young, my child. Luckily, I have a talisman to ward off evil spirits, so you can't do anything. Just sit there and watch me cut this old man's throat. The old man gently approached the sorcerer. Just as he swung his knife to cut, the official suddenly stood up and shouted, Where are you? Quickly put this evil beast in chains for me. Tomorrow I'll cut off his head and show it to the public. He was frightened and dropped the knife and ran away, but his strength was no match for those 2 strong soldiers. In the end, he was captured. The Mandarin and the other 2 men escorted him back to prison. The Mandarin and I immediately ran towards her. Perhaps she was so tired that she could not speak anymore, so he said, I have kept my promise to you. I have caught the murderer. Tomorrow I will hold an altar to clear your name and help you reincarnate. She held my hand and his tightly, then nodded her thanks. Loudspeaker, loudspeaker, loudspeaker. All the villagers listen here at noon. Quickly come to the district office to see the cold-blooded murderer who took 3 lives. Anyone who does not go will be punished for being an accomplice. Loudspeaker, loudspeaker, loudspeaker. The soldier sitting on the saddle shouted loudly throughout the market. The whole village gathered towards the district office. Whoever was still selling had to close their shop. Whoever was busy had to come there. The district official stepped out majestically. He quickly sat down on his chair. On both sides were tall soldiers, standing majestically. The whole village trembled before the majestic place. No one dared to say a word. The official suddenly shouted loudly, Now, quickly put the cold-blooded murderer Namgu in chains and bring him here. The whole village immediately became noisy, completely different from the silence just now. They were shocked when they heard that the village chief Namgu was the murderer. No one believed it. Everyone cried out in unison that they had wrongly arrested the wrong person. Seeing that, the official shouted loudly, "All the villagers, quickly be quiet. I have always been famous for being upright and strict in judging. I have never wrongly judged and wrongly wronged." Seeing that there was still talk, the official slammed his hand on the table. "Hey, you cold-blooded villain. Was it you who raped and threw the victim's body down the well 30 years ago? And were you the one who killed the 2 children of Mrs. Nam Hong?" He could only lower his head, speaking in small, hesitant words. "Yes, sir, I killed all 3 people." The official stood up, looked at the crowd. "Do you believe it now? He appears gentle and kind on the outside, but inside he is an inhuman beast. His cover is really perfect. Even I did not believe he was a murderer. But thanks to a smart boy who helped me solve the case, I found out about this." In the crowd, Mrs. Nam Hong burst into tears, shouting loudly, You are the one who killed my child. Give me back my child, you cruel and inhumane man. You animal, you beast. I have to kill you." A series of other people also cursed him in unison. Now he could only bow his head in shame. The official raised his hand to signal silence. "It's noon. It's time for you to pay with your life. Executioner, come out quickly." A tall executioner stepped out from the district office. He was shirtless, revealing the strange tattoos on his back and chest. He held a sharp knife in his hand. He put wine in his mouth, raised the knife high in the sky, waiting for the official's order. The district official returned to his seat, pulled out a card, and threw it on the ground. He roared like a tiger. "Slaughter." As soon as he finished speaking, the executioner spat wine onto the knife. He quickly chopped down the murderer's head. Swoosh! The head of that beast fell down with a loud thud. Blood flowed down from his severed neck, creating a deep hole in the ground. Then his body fell down. His white prisoner's shirt was soaked with blood and turned a deep red. This was probably the most horrifying scene I had ever seen. The judge continued, "The evildoer has been punished. By the way, to give the villagers a warm and prosperous new year, all his wealth will be converted into rice, salt, and clothes and distributed to all the poor people in the village. Whoever agrees, shout loudly." The whole village cheered and shouted in agreement. Everyone was pleased with the judge's judgment, both destroying the evildoer and helping the poor. Truly wise and virtuous. The day ended and the night came again. I went with the monk to that cemetery to set up an altar to clear her soul. The monk lit 49 candles and 49 incense sticks. He placed a tray of sticky rice and a plate of salt and rice on the table. He held 3 incense sticks and placed them on her forehead to recite the sutra for salvation. After a while, she suddenly appeared from the bottom of the well. She was no longer the image of a long-haired, white-clothed ghost, but now she had returned to the form of a beautiful girl wearing a pure white outfit. She smiled softly and said, "Thank you and the monk here for helping me clear my grievance. I really don't know how to express my gratitude and happiness. I truly thank you both from the bottom of my heart. Now I have started another life. I hope fate will help us meet again." As soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly flew high into the sky. The bright moon had washed away the resentment in her heart. Now only the purity and gentleness of a girl in her 20s remained. She turned into pieces and merged into the space filled with light. These were truly the most special days for me. Perhaps it will forever remain in my heart and mind and never fade. The days passed, and finally the New Year's Day came. From the old to the young, everyone forgot the old stories of the past and merged into the colorful atmosphere. And our story ends here. Once again, thank you to the listeners who have always accompanied the YouTube channel Vietnamese Ghost Stories. Goodbye, and see you again in the next stories.